Um, Welcome to another episode of Gari-On Talks. Today we have my cousin and also a teacher and well-known individual in the radio industry, Delton Marin. We're happy to have him here and learn more about him, his career, and how the Garifuna language fits into all of that. So, welcome, Delton. Thank you for joining me. Much appreciated. So, we'll start with you.
Mhm.
Um, please give us a little bit about your background, how you grew up, and your
Uh,
career in terms of how you started to where you are now.
for me, my name is Delton Marin. I was born on the 5th of January, 1977, to Mr. Hector Marin and my mom, Mrs. Edith Marin, from Georgetown. And as a young boy, I had many aspirations. I wanted to become a priest, I wanted to become a doctor, and I wanted to become a policeman. But in the end, I didn't, I didn't become one of those. Instead, I followed and I pursued a career in journalism, in media and communications. And then after that, I also went into teaching, which I'm currently in as a mathematics teacher, per the levels that I teach and stuff like that. And I've been doing that for quite some years now. But um, being a journalist and being on the radio is one of my passion, and also reading a lot. Any books that I come across, I would like to, see what it is saying. And I'm the fourth, I'm the fifth child, I must say, in the family as well, in terms of having five sisters, and then there's only three of us, three brothers, and so many cousins, and you are one of them, Dor. And it's good that I'm here with you to share what I have. And as a Garifuna brother as well, I try to, uphold my culture, try to, um, you know, keep it alive in some of the things that I do, as I am a master of summaries for events. And I'm also a justice of the peace. So far, I'm father of four, two boys, two girls. And yeah, God has been good to me. So, life is nothing much without the struggles to make it meaningful. So therefore, I must continue to give God thanks. And thanks for
Mhm.
having me.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. Um, so, um, so in terms of you growing up,
Mhm.
what was it like growing up back then, in the Garifuna culture? What was that like?
Oh, that's a beautiful one. I did not say much in the introduction while growing up, because I like that you asked that question, simply because growing up uh, as a Garifuna child then, and as a Garifuna man now, but going back when the culture as it stands, we used to continue, you know, our way of life in terms of seeing what our grandparents were doing, and the language by keeping it through our talking. We were not uh, supposed to be talking any other language because of the retention of our language. We were supposed to continue talking it, and we were tasked that even if we were to talk any other language, it was supposed to be English. And apart from that, then it's going to be into Garifuna. So we grew up in a society where the Garifuna language was being spoken primarily in the homes. Only when you associate by going through to school, with your peers, that you would deviate from that. But more than likely, when you meet your other brothers who would talk your language, that is where you communicate in that particular language. So your parents or grandparents instill that the Garifuna language continue to be spoken in and out. Dinner tea, like what we would normally say. And that was the way how we associate. And up to today, I still have that within me, to speak my language wherever I go, because it is a part of me. I cannot deviate from that. So Yeah, growing up, yes, you had some challenges because you meet your other friends who are non-Garifuna speakers, as you may know. But then, because of your communication to them, you have to try to, communicate to them in their particular language or another language. But first and foremost, Garifuna was the mother tongue, and it is, and that is the first mean of our communication because it was instilled in us and up to today.
Hmm. So, in terms of you, when you were growing up and you met someone who heard you speaking Garifuna, but were not Garifuna or were not familiar with the language or the culture. How
Mhm.
and they asked about it, what language is that? What culture is that? How would you respond to them?
Ooh, beautiful question. When you come across people, and up to today, if I may tell you, up to today, that still exists, though. That still exists. Up to today, when you meet people who are not Garifuna or Garinago like yourself, and they question you about what language is that and stuff like that, um, you have to you have to bring them to the historical aspect of the Garinagos, in terms of where our history all started from, that place called Yorume, which is St. Vincent, all right, in 1600s, 1700s, where they settled there, but due to colonial rule, our ancestors were forced to leave that land, and then they traversed through the sea, not in a condition that they wanted to. Some of them even died along the way. But again, prior to that, you know that our culture has that fuse of different people. We have the Africans, we have the Arawaks, later on you have the Kalinago who mix with the Gar that come up with the Garinago and so forth. So when you look at other people and then they come to you and then they ask you what language is that and stuff like that, we have a history to foretold that is rich because we are a special people. All right. And then at the same time, we are those that continue to be resilient. We continue to carry our hope, our struggles, and we are a peaceful people, like what UNESCO declared our language when they get it for the language, it is a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. That is what UNESCO said. So when people would ask us certain questions or would ask me what language is that, I just tell them about the history, how it all came about, and stuff like that. And at the same time, I try to whatever I cannot say in their language, I use my particular language. So it is a teaching process at the same time, Amos Door, and it is gradual way of opening the doors for others to know more about our language and our world.
Hmm.
So it is something that continues. It is not just one day if at all. It is something that you come across every day.
Hmm. And what made you want to study journalism or media and communication?
No, well, it again. I have a passion for the media, maybe simply because, as you can hear, I like talking but at the same time, and I like to be that center of attention, but in a positive way, because some
Mhm.
might use it to be negative. But for me, I like to be the voice of the voiceless, if I may use that terminology. And media is a way of getting the information out there. Media is also a way of, you know, reaching out to those people who are not vocal enough, and as well to uplift them. And I use that through my media um, learned learnedness to kind of put them on the map, uh, and to try have them uh, create their voice and be that mouthpiece for them, and also try to uplift them, empower them through media, and as well and me being the person that I am, trying to develop that socialite philosophy in bringing out people. So, and as well being an advocate too as well, trying to put them there where they belong in terms of them not maybe wanting to be in the forefront. That is where I would come in to shed light on some of the issues that are also affecting. And again, like you ask, I mean, what makes me to take part in that journalism or be part of that? It's again, there are so many things that plague us in our society, both culturally, spiritually, and everything. So we need to look into that as well. And using my media is one. I can be the voice and be the advocate of change through
Hmm.
that.
And how the in terms of teaching, how did that come about? And why did you choose math as your major, as your
the,
area to teach?
the teaching,
Hmm.
mm, because of the opportunities that were out there in terms of me as a person with such caliber. I i signed up, I went in for an interview, and then I got a teaching post at the primary level, and I'm still there until now, you know, educating and shaping the young minds, and as well, again, trying to, create a better future for them, and then, they be productive citizens in their particular country, which I have come to love as well, which is a passion that I have in terms of educating and shaping young minds.
Hmm. Okay, and in terms of the in terms of you being influential in the community that you live and the community that you work, um, what do you think is needed to help young people know that there is, especially those who tend to go astray? How do you, why do you think it's important to help them see that there's a better way, or or what can we do to help them know that there's another way and want to, aspire to be better, citizens of the community and build the community?
Um, there is there are many challenges in this world, and one have to take into account that he or she, whatever is happening in the world, they need to try to be different. They need to be an agent of change. Change only comes when you yourself put put into action what you are destined to become. With so many young people that we have going astray and not trying to, you know, be, not everyone, but those who are going astray and they don't want to, you know, go to that path whereby it would lead them into success. I urge them to try to become better. I urge them to try to create that leverage of what I'd say, that leverage of which they can be productive, that they can be in one, and that they can be an example by empowering other young people to reach a particular level. Because if we are not careful, the way how the world is going right now with the society that we are living in, we will lose a generation if we have not already, because of carelessness, because of foolishness, because of not trying to adapt, and that because of not trying to be who they are fruitfully, and assimilating other culture that is not theirs, making themselves a little bit shadow image of others and not being true to themselves. So my take is you always have to be true to yourself. That's one. Two, know what you are about. Three, never give up. Four, work hard. Five, which is not least, it's important, always give back to your community when you are successful in whatever you do. Challenges will be out there, but you cannot relent. You cannot give up. You always have to try to be strong, put your mind together, and build others on your way up. Because the same one that you leave at the bottom, you will meet them on your way down. That is my philosophy.
Mm. I like that philosophy, and we need more people to, think that way. That way, there'll be less of us left astray and be, there without help, thinking there's not hope,
Sure.
thinking there's not a better way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I want to talk to, people that I respect and I admire so we can
Hmm.
show, our kids coming up, young people coming up, of what
Exactly.
is possible, despite
Exactly.
challenging, despite what you go through.
Exactly.
It is possible to still be in a place where you're contented,
Of
where
course.
you can make a reasonable life, where you can be
Of course.
successful, where you can still, have that friends and family of
Of course.
support behind you. So,
Of
you
course.
know, that's why I'm trying to show them that it is possible. No
Of
matter what you go
course.
through, no matter where you come from, it is possible.
Yes, we all know there's a saying that says, one size does, they say one size fits all, but it varies on what that size is.
Hmm.
Because, a pinch of a shoe will only be felt by those who wear it. So, which means then, despite what type of life you are living or who you are, it does not negate the fact that you will remain in that position. I always tell people, you can be wayward, over the years. All right, people might consider you not to be productive in society, but always remember, no condition is permanent, and so things change. This is, the world is evolving. We do not stay at one position, so it's very important. It's very important. Excuse the noise in the background, but it's very important that we take into consideration respect, humility, love, and that good mannerism plays a key role, like you said. And with that, trust me, and I must also add, the belief in God also has a lot to do with it, everything, and your
Hmm.
fear. Mhm.
Okay. So we will switch a little bit.
Mhm.
So now we'll talk about the language.
Sure.
Um, so when it comes to the language, you said you learned growing up. That's what your
Yes.
parents instilled in you.
Yes.
So um, you can speak the language, the Garifuna language. You understand the language
Yeah.
fluently.
Hmm.
Um, but not all of us, had that privilege of learning the language, especially, this generation, younger people.
Pretty unfortunate.
Right. So when it comes to the language, how,
Hmm.
and you said you have kids, 4 kids. Do
Hmm.
you still instill that in them? So do they have similar upbringing in terms of the language of being able to understand it and speak with you and able to respond to you in Garifuna?
Very good question. In terms of my home, as it relates, I have seen that we as the parents are the one that are talking it, but the kids growing up are not talking it, but they are understanding it. I said a while ago while you were talking, it's pretty unfortunate because if I know what I noticed that the older society, the older heads are more into the Garifuna duo, the Garifuna nest for those who understand. Um, in terms of keeping the language alive and every aspect relating the Garifuna language or the Garifuna culture. As it relates to the speaking of it, one needs to continue that level of adversity in this be at a level whereby you do not relent, you do not give up by speaking it. Because if your parents are Garinagu or they speak the Garifuna language, it is in you, it is innate, it is part of you. Yes, you might not go up speaking it due to, again, due to little culturation. Because remember that society has changed nowadays, that people are coming up with their own definitions of who they are. They are Garinagu, but they are not speaking it. All right. But what makes you Garifuna is you living it. Yes, some of you might not be able to speak it due to, again, you're not taught, or again, you're of mixed, heritage. But the thing is, those of us who continue to proclaim that language and continue to preach it as like a gospel, our generation will pick it up. But our main objective is to make sure that it be retained. We do not lose it, because we can have artifacts, we can have the clothing, we can have so many things. But if we are not speaking it, if we are not eating our cultural food, if we are not dressing the way we dress, if we are not being accommodating and loving and hospitable people as going to go as we are, then it's going to decline. So as it relates, again, I have my kids and we talk to them pretty much in Garifuna, and that is the only way that they will learn. You cannot give up with that. And I encourage everybody to do that. By the way, there is also dictionary, the Garifuna dictionary out there. There are people in our country right now. We have museums in Belize here, and I guess out in the United States too as well, with museums, Garifuna restaurant with the cuisine. There's so many things. They even have classes for those who want to learn how to. So there are opportunities now where no one can say they don't have. We even have schools that people can go to learn our language. As for me, it is in me, and I continue to bring out what is in me, because I don't want to lose it, and I will not lose it, and I don't plan to do so.
Hmm. Okay, so what do you I know you said there are classes.
Hmm.
Do you know like
Hmm.
specifically who is offering these classes? I'm trying to get to for someone who have the interest to learn the language, whether they're Garifuna or not,
Okay.
because it's not only Garifuna people want to
Okay.
learn our language.
Again.
For anyone who wants to learn,
Okay.
especially younger people, how would
Yes.
they go about,
Yes.
finding out about
How?
these
Okay.
classes?
Yeah. For I am close to the roadside, so excuse the noise here. I must tell you that in our country, in our beautiful country called Belize, right now, and as well in the United States, I will give you some names. There is a guy called James Lovell, who's a musician, who upholds the Garifuna culture. He sings, he uses the Garifuna music in an art form, and as well teaching young people. There is also Gwen Nunez Gonzalez, who is adamant and defiantly teaching the Garifuna language. There is Gulisi, a primary school here in Dangriga, that children, Garinogu and non-Garinogu alike, attend, Miss Dor. They attend that school and they learn Garifuna. The curriculum is in Garifuna. The Ministry of Education as well will be will be making sure that Garifuna is brought back to the primary school, because it was there once. Now they are trying to bring it back again. So there are people out there who are trying to teach that Garifuna language free of
Mm.
charge to learn the Garifuna language. So there's that wealth of knowledge out there that people are devoting uh, their time to do, so that our culture, our heritage continues to live on. Long after you and I may be gone from here, but the culture will still be, enacted through our young people and through the generation that
Mhm.
will be left here. So yes, those are some of the names and some, institutions that I made mention of that are teaching the Garifuna language for people to learn. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, because there is Mr. Sebastian Cayetano in Belize City with the Garifuna Luba Garifuna Museum in Belize City as well. And these people as well, the names that I mentioned, made trips to Urumai St. Vincent. A group of people uh, went there one spell and tried to teach the people Garifuna because they have lost it and they wanted to learn. And so far, they're getting there. They're getting there.
Mhm.
So these are some of the things. The doors are open and the opportunities are there as well. Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm just this is one of the because when it comes to like knowing where things are or knowing,
Mhm.
resources, where or who to reach out to.
Okay.
I think that's important,
Mhm.
and the only way to know where or who to ask is to just speak to someone you know or ask someone who may know
Right.
someone. So I'm glad that you
Right.
spoke about all these resources that are available for those who are
Right.
interested in learning.
Right. Right. Because you remember that the teaching of Garifuna comes from the heart. Yes, there will be a cover charge that these people may ask, not because of the love for money, but it's because just to maybe get some materials printed, pay for the time and stuff like that. But at the same time, teaching Garifuna to others and to those who want to learn it and those who are Garinago themselves is not an easy task. All right, because there's a lot that encompasses it. Hence the reason why I said before, and I'll repeat, there are people who open business in that sells Garifuna food, Garifuna clothing. They do all type of stuff Garifuna do, so that our culture and everything that encompasses us as Garifuna people and get the Garifuna duo lives on. And that is why we are trying to continue by promoting it and stuff
Mm,
like that. And that's the reason why I'm happy that you have me here. I'm not an expert in any given way, but because as a Garifuna person born and bred, it is in me. I love these type of things because then it is what we are all about, you know s- telling the world about us, who we are, and stuff like that, so that people may get to know us. Because when you look at us, remember our heritage stems from Africa, and you
mhm,
look at their clothing, you look at our dashiki, you look at their chegede, you look at how the Africans dress, it's similar to us. Look at how they eat, it's similar to us.
mhm,
Everything, their drums, take a look at that. We have our drums, they have their drums, so we have that similarity, and that amount of vast similarity, so strong, that you cannot close your eyes to that. So hence
mhm,
the reason why it is important. Even the language itself, even the language itself.
mhm,
So yes, so there are many institutions right now and people who have taken their time based on retirement, stuff like that, to try to promote the Garifuna culture, and that is where the stepping stone is, in terms of them promoting it, pushing it forward for the forefront, so that we do not lose it. We
mhm.
do not lose our heritage.
Good, good. And that's the point. So I'd like to switch gears again. So
Okay.
I will show you some images and
Mhm.
you tell me the name of those images in Garifuna.
Okay.
Okay, so I will share my screen. So you tell
That's no
me
problem.
when you can see my screen.
Okay. Right. All right. Yeah, I can see that. All right. You are showing on the screen a Garifuna flag. And in Garifuna, you refer to that as Fanidira.
Fanidira.
Hafanidira Garino. That's the
Mm-hmm.
Garifuna flag.
Mm-hmm.
Fanidira.
Oh, and
That,
what does the Garifuna flag mean to you?
okay, the colors on the Garifuna flag, remember that the black represents the struggle, the white is that of peace, and the yellow represents, the white is that of peace, and then, the yellow represents our hope. So we look at our struggles, our being peaceful people, what we have gone through in terms of you know everything that encompasses Gona world. So it gives us our history, and then just that logo in the middle just represents what we as a people, our livelihood, and the things that we hold dear to us.
Mm-hmm.
And a very good person as well to check when it comes to everything Garifuna do is also Baba Roy Cayetano and his wife Mrs. Phyllis Cayetano, people who are NGC, and there are
Mm-hmm.
so many others. But I give kudos to Baba Roy because I also learned a lot from him, and as well the late the late father Jerry's Valentine, Canon Jerry's Valentine,
Mm-hmm.
very, and as well Father Igemeri Miranda, Felix Igemeri Miranda. We know him as Feed, all right, from Otto Hopkins as well. So yeah, but this
Mm-hmm.
is again the Garifuna flag, Fanidira.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here you have a picture of the Garifuna drums, and this one here. All right, in Garifuna, may I say there are two kinds of drums. All right, there can be many being played at the same time, but there are two. Two, you have one left, one right. There is one that you call there's one that you call this primero, which is the small one, which is this one right here. And then there's a big one, which is called the segundo, which is the bass drum. And again, these are very important in our culture. And these are our Garifuna drum. And in Garifuna, we call them Ganaru, on Dombria for the drummers. Dombria you call the drummers, and the drum you call it Ganano.
Gararo.
Ganano. All right. These are children, right? And in Garifuna, you will say Iraño. Iraño.
Mm-hmm.
These are children. Iraño.
Mm-hmm.
Raño. Children.
Right.
Male, female. Raño or Iraño. These are Iraño. Children. These are little children.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a bit about, because this picture reminds me of, I think it was around November 19th when we celebrate,
Mm-hmm.
Garifuna Settlement Day in Belize, and it's a national holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it reminds me of when, you were with your kids, your students on stage, and you were, I don't know if they were singing, but you can, let me let you talk about that experience. What was that like for you, and what was it like training them for that, for that event?
Hey, you see, one of the thing again, right? So many things comes to you when you're going to do something like this, especially for get a because you will come across people that are not Garifuna, non-Garinago speakers. Then you will have your own, but you will find out that the non-Garinago speakers will want to be the one that will gravitate more to what you're going to be teaching. And so that
That is
that
true.
excitement, yes, that excitement, I mean, like I cannot describe it, right? Because it's a like a sensation, like I don't know, like you feel so duly empowered that even myself kind of get blown away, because they're coming to you with that hunger, that excitement, that love, and I don't even know how to begin to explain it because you're so mesmerized by their openness and willingness to accept it and to try to partake in something that is not theirs, but something that they are trying to bring about, and
Embrace.
later on they can inherit it. Who knows? Because that is part of what they are going to do, and that is what we as a people should try to continue. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, once you're willing to be a part of the language, the culture, and everything encompassing it, hey, it's going to be a good plus for you. So it is a joy. It is something that I it's difficult to explain, but just live it and do it in my years. So yes, this gives me that reminder as well.
Mhm. And how important you think it is for us to teach, our babies, our children,
Oh,
how to,
yeah.
to
So
embrace their
it is very
culture,
important.
their language.
No, it is very important because if we do not teach our kids, if we do not teach the Garifuna language and the Garifuna way of life, which is called the Garifuna do to our children and to other people, then we're going to lose it. There's what you call there's cultural retention, where you try to do anything that's possible to keep the language and culture and everything about it alive.
Mhm,
The written history, recorded videos such as this, interviews such as this, and to sell it to other people out there. By that, I mean to let them get the information. If not, then there's what you call cultural erasure, whereby it will just
be
fade away
forgotten.
slowly.
Mhm,
Yeah, we will lose it. We will not have anything about our culture because you can have Garifuna artifacts. You can have just like the picture that you show, the drums, the flag. You can have that in your house. But what does it mean to be Garifuna? Garifuna has to be in you. You can have all those stuffs. That does not necessarily mean you're a Garifuna. It just means that that's just not an object that you like. But
mhm,
in Garifuna, gas to hisi a labo, gas to babagariduni. You have to
mhm,
live it.
mhm,
See that labo, and it must be in your heart. Must aniela Garifuna bida. You must have Garifuna in you. Must Garifuna ba. Lugwara la bida roguni ha mama baya Garifuna. You must be Garifuna in order for you to help those who are not Garifuna. If you are not Garifuna and you are helping others who are not Garifuna, then there is somebody who have brought you in to the Garifuna way of life that you see the benefit in it, that you are also preaching what Garifunado is all about. And so it should always be for everyone, Garifuna, non Garifuna alike, because we are all one people. We are all hospitable people. We are all one good common people. And so we need to continue to proclaim everything about Garifuna. Because remember, Garifuna way of life, Aubu Amurunu. You
mhm,
for me, I for you. Murunabo Monoban. That is the Garifuna way of life. And until then, we just need to continue that.
mhm. Binaro, I agree. I agree.
Okay. Here is a picture of children, a simple reenactment. Reenactment, meaning there's what you call the triumphant uh, journey from Saint Vincent to the shores of Belize. That is what you call Yurumai, reenacting the transition when they moved from there. They were driven away from the land. So this is just to show us children doing a reenactment with the Garifuna flag again, with the drums and what have you.
Mhm. And
And you
they
can,
are at a
yeah,
school.
and you
And
can see a
how
picture
would
and
we
you can see
say
the word
school?
Gulisi. You can see the word Gulisi, and this happens there at Gulisi. So yeah,
Mhm.
which is the
And how
school that we spoke about earlier.
right, and how would we say school in
Mm,
Garifuna?
that's the Garifuna school.
How would we say the word school in Garifuna?
Oh, okay. And yes, going to, and then the word school in Garifuna, you see la escuela.
Mm.
In Garifuna, la escuela.
Mhm. And they're carrying those drums that you spoke about, segundo and
Yes. And
primero.
again, going to the drums like what spoke about. And again, you are right on QD. You're very smart and intelligent woman. You could see you pull up the picture in the perfect timing. You have the segundo and the primero. You notice you have two primeros, which are the smaller drums, and then the segundo, which is the bass drums. You can have any amount of drums that you so desire whenever you're doing anything that has to do with the Garifuna cultural music. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much drums you have. As long as you have the drums, it sends it all. It
Mhm.
cements it. All right. This is okay. The Garifuna suit. As you take a look at these ladies, um, in Garifuna about Wengo, we say anuala ha chegidi, chegidi, which is the upper portion of the woman's dress, and then the bottom, good. The Garifuna suit, chegidi, tuma, good. Or they would wear one straight, you call it gown, their traditional Garifuna attire, tauti hamuswet, with their head covering. All right. So you take a look at the woman in yellow, green, and that. Well, that is it. Ana little tabulugu, which is tumuswete, and then you have her chegidi, which is her blouse, and then tugudu, which is her skirt. As you can see as well with the other ladies as well in the picture. So they get it from a suit, chegidi, tuma, hagudu, and a little habulugu if they have their head covering, aba go to hamuswet, the head
Mhm.
covering, their head
Mhm.
tie. Okay, pencil, another instrument used by any person. You call this like a pencil, pencil. This is just, that object used to write. Garifuna, pen, this pencil in English, and in Garifuna, abba pencil. Abu gule,
Mhm. So Pensili or Aburaguli.
or Abu gule. Anything that you use to write Abu gule, but just to be specific, this is a pencil, Awagolo pencil.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Again, yes, kudos to the people who own this bus line here. But again, this is a boss. Ileda Garifuna boss, boss. Afa ya gule boss. On afa ya te afa ya gule boss. Itala wa water, but we call this boss or afa ya gule. We use this a mode of transportation. A boss, boss.
Mhm.
Afa ya gule boss. Aha. Aniati radio, radio. This is we say radio, radio. Aga bagule. Honha mabaya gagamoro honla mabaya television radio. This is a radio. Again, for those who don't have television, for those who don't have maybe a cell phone or a phone on a whole, this is again another device which I am passionate about. This is where I come in for the voice of the voiceless and for the information to get out. So this is radio and Garifuna Abawengo Radio.
Mhm.
Ah, yes. This book right here again, and you are right on cue, and it's good that you have this here because this is how our Garifuna dictionary looks like. It has the English in it, it has the Garifuna. Ani Garifuna tida ani English. In Garifuna is called Libur. Libur. It's called Libur. You could also say Garada. Liburu, Roba Bengu, Garada.
Mhm.
Anuha Liburu to Lani Lanina Tumure Garifuna do.
Mhm.
Lani Garifuna. Anua Garada to. Anua Liburu to. This book, Liburu or Garada. And this right here is a Garifuna dictionary for those who might want to look up some words.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my, you know, missions as well is to find ways to make the language be more accessible.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Um, because not all of us can go into a store or know exactly where to get one of these from. I know from before it used to be available at Angela's Press, in Belize City. To get one, I had to ask one of my friends where to get it because I did not know.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to find ways of making the language more accessible, especially
Okay.
now when many young people are, most of the time, especially when we're far from each other,
Right.
and young people, we mostly
Right.
use social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Right.
How do we make the language a part of that and be more accessible? That's one of the things
Again,
I'm trying to, remedy to make it more accessible, especially through, you know, social media
I
or through
again
technology.
I would refer you to the same names that I gave you earlier to get to them because they are of immense help and they also have historical records in terms of vital information that you may need. Sir James Lovell, you have Mr. Baba Roy Cayetano, you have Mrs. Phyllis Cayetano, that's Baba Roy's wife. You have again Mrs. Gwen Nunes Gonzalez. All right. I mean, these people are resource people. They have some information that you, and again, you contact Golisi. And once you get Mrs. Kai, Phyllis Gaetano, she is also the local manager, the manager for Golisi, that school of Garifuna there, that school of Garifuna do, where you
Hmm.
go and learn. And again, that is where that comes into as well. So that wouldn't, I don't think that would be a problem in terms of you networking with them in trying, because your goal is not different than them. So I don't think if they would not accommodate you. So I believe that that can be done. Want to
Hmm.
network with them to get your work out there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
I will keep trying, Hopefully I get to some of them and hopefully
Sure.
some of them will be willing. So
Sure.
that's the goal.
And again, there might be some people out there as well, who you can just, those people with the restaurant, they will have some, like, with the Garifuna businesses, because we have some people with them Garifuna businesses out there as well, like the museums. You check with them because they will have certain things, because, our language, the our language has certain ways of speaking and saying and addressing, right? And Garifuna is very expressive. And at the same time, there are some words that are in English that may not be translated in Garifuna
Hmm.
because of the way how they just lately come in. There are some words, for example, I know that in this Garifuna dictionary, for example, the word internet will remain the same due to the way how the language has been. Internet will be internet,
Hmm.
stuff like that. So there are certain things. So again, it's good that you're taking this study seriously too as well, in terms of devising your own, because it will help you in the long run at the end of the day too as well. And I want to say kudos to you and continue to do a fantastic, fantabulous job on what you're doing.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Um, let's proceed. Okay. So I know you like talking on the radio. You
Yo, yeah.
teach the kids maths. You
Huh?
teach the kids how to perform in Garifuna.
Oh
But
yes.
what other talent, and you like reading, what other talents do you have, or what other hobbies do you have, that
Oh,
you engage in on your downtime?
I'm like, I have two bicycles, but they are down. I love cycling and playing sports. I do have I have a problem right now, but I love my cycling and again playing sports such as football, volleyball, and what have you, and just take some nice walk, listening to music, not dancing, but listening to music, and
Mhm,
again, just going to church and stuff like that. So basic thing that makes me happy. Apart from reading and being on the radio and stuff like that. So, and then being around family and doing interviews such as this. I love things like this.
mhm. Good. So my final question would be,
Mhm.
All of us, we're here and we're not here
Mhm.
forever.
Sure.
So, how do you want people to remember you? What do you
Well,
want them to think when they hear your name after you're gone? What do you want
well.
them to think?
Ooh. Okay. In terms of the legacy, if I am to be remembered, I want to be remembered as someone that tried his best, utmost best, give it his all, passionate about what he does, and always remain true to himself no matter what the circumstances. Never cave into peer pressure, never take sides, and always speak the truth. It's not a easy thing, but always remain true. I remain true to myself. And once I am true to myself and I have faith in God and believe in God, you can't go wrong. With all that I do, there might be challenges, but all I can do and wish for in the future when my name come up is that I would always be true, no matter what the circumstances, and that at least I try to help, lend a helping hand, and promote my culture to the best of my ability and knowledge. That's pretty
Mhm,
much that.
mhm.
Nothing complicated. It's
Yep,
just
straight
simple.
to the point. Yeah. And I guess that was not the last question.
Uh-huh.
What's next for you? Where do you see yourself after this? What's next for you?
Well, the I'm looking at trying to become an administrator, possibly in the next 2 years. Uh, Once I apply and I given the opportunity and I apply and they give me the opportunity to become an administrator of primary school. At the same time, continue to work on my own radio station. I'm trying to build it. But again, that is my first priority in terms of working on my own radio station. But those are my two that I'm looking at. And, just continue to live with my family, be the father that I am meant to be, and continue to give God thanks and praise, and continue to ask for wisdom and health and strength. But those are some of the things that I'm looking for. Nothing much like that, but God be with me in everything that I do, and things will work out.
Mhm. Well, definitely congratulations you know, with
Hmm.
all that, because that is definitely ambitious, and you've shown through, you know, all your experience and what keeps you grounded and knowing you're in a place where you're contented, you know what you stand for, you know the support that you have behind you,
Sure.
and
Sure.
you keep pushing, you keep pushing, you keep making it happen, so
Oh,
that's good. And congratulations with that, and definitely good luck with that.
thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled by the experience. I mean, this is something good, and I thank God for it. I mean, the things that I do, I don't do pretty much for my. So I'm not doing the things that I do for just my own glorification. I do that because I trust in God, and I think God has blessed me so with certain abilities, and I want to showcase those as well and give God thanks. It's all about glorifying God at the end. So that's just that's just my thing.
Hmm. And do you have, in terms of having, your legacy continue, I think it's important to be able to pass on some of what you know to others, to people,
Mhm.
young people coming up. Do
Yeah, yeah.
you do any mentoring, any,
Ah,
tutoring
it's
or
good
mentoring
that you
to
say
young
that.
people, to be
Yes,
able to carry on some of
I
what you
didn't.
know?
I didn't say it, but again, I from 2010 I have been doing summer camps free of charge for my young children in this village called Georgetown. I have
Mhm.
been doing that, and where I am needed to assist in teaching any concept or give a speech, I'm always asked to do that, and I go about and I would do that, because again, I'm an MC, a master of ceremonies for, events. I've been doing that for quite some years now, and people would normally ask me to grace them, and address them or go and host their activities, and that is how I would go about doing my thing, giving God thanks. So yes, I do that work with young people, and they come to me as often. I help when I can in terms of them not understanding a concept in their homework. So I do that, and as well train them for sports and events and have fun, youth nights and stuff like that. So yes, I do that. I do that with my young people. So, and then they are growing up. Some have already grown up already, because I do that from age 5 all the way up. Some students have graduated from high school, went to sixth form, out of sixth form already now at any university, because they work. They had been in my group, but because they're older, they join me now. They're like facilitators or something like that. So
Very
I believe
nice.
that we carry through now with
Hmm.
some of the things I do. So what I do now, I stay in the back light. I am more the I am more the moderator than the person in charge, because I have the people that grew up with me taking charge. So I
Hmm.
just act as a moderator. So yes,
Beautiful, beautiful. It shows that, that it can continue,
yes,
when you yourself think that it's important and you do your part by passing on some of what you know, and then it
yeah,
continues, you know.
yes,
Think that's
yes,
very important.
yes,
But I
man.
think knowledge and experience should be shared because, there are people coming, after us, and they need to know that, there are people there who care enough to show them this is the way to do it, this is why it's done, and this is how you can do it. I
Yeah,
think that's important.
yep,
Yeah.
sure, sure,
So,
sure.
Delton Marin, my cousin, I want to thank you, Sarame, for joining me and for sharing, giving of your time and sharing of yourself and what you know with us. We much appreciated.
40 megate. And I want to say, close by saying, remember that all this, Garifuna is a very expressive language. This language is so unique that, again, and I repeat, UNESCO declared the Garifuna language as an oral masterpiece and the intangible heritage of humanity. A masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. We should always cherish it, and we should always be true to ourselves. And as Garifuna people, we are loving despite the struggles that we went through, but we are here and we are willing to share our history with the world out there. And I'm happy, Cousin Dur, that you have me. And, like I said, I'm not an expert in any given way, but because of I am Garifuna, I will always be true to my culture and to me. And I thank you for having me, man. And best of luck.
Thank you, much appreciated. All right, sir. Take
All
care
right.
and see you when I
You
go to GT.
sure, no problem, my dear. All right,
All
thanks for the
right.
have a blessed day. All
You
right,
too. Take
fam.
care.